All right. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a fantastic day. So, Bitcoin, what's it going to do this week? Is it going to be strong? Is it going to be weak? Is it going to be sideways? We'll see. As of right now, it looks okay. It's back above the weekly and daily 21 exponential moving average. Today's Tuesday, so we're early on in the week. We do have a rate decision tomorrow, so that could cause a little bit of sideways boringness today. Then again, it could cause a lot of volatility because people will be putting on different positions, getting ready for a potential rate cut, because that is being priced in, I believe. So here we go. Right now, Bitcoin currently testing the October open as well as the October volume weighted average price. So this is a pretty big level for Bitcoin. Obviously, if it stays above 114.067, it's bullish on the month. Still bullish on the year, and I do love the fact that it did pull in at this 21 and literally found support. So you can see right here it was acting at resistance. It acted as resistance for multiple days, and then ultimately over the weekend it blasted off right back up through that stuff. So now looks pretty good, looks pretty bullish. It's only a hop, skip, and jump away from all-time highs. I think with a couple of really good days, Bitcoin will be pricing in at new all-time highs again. And that would be a good thing, seeing how we're back to being a bullish engulfing monthly candle. So just that fast, we went from talking about Bitcoin being a bearish engulfing monthly at the top of the range to being a bullish engulfing. Very tight range here. It's aggressive as far as dollar signs, right? I mean, you're looking at a $20,000 range here, but for what Bitcoin's done in the past, it's actually a very tight, narrowing range. Now, a lot of people will tell you that this is a topping formation, and I would be one of them. I would agree. It is a 3-drive topping formation. You can also call it a Wyckoff distribution formation. And it's also a broadening wedge. And some people seem to think that the broadening wedge is a reversal formation. They might be right. Only time will tell. But the more time it spends above the monthly open, in my opinion, would be bullish and not bearish. So we'll see what it does here. Like I said, big news tomorrow could literally change everything. Last week, we did ultimately get back above and close back above the weekly 21. Typically, I want to be bearish or start looking for bearish trades when you're closing weeklies below it. So last week, I basically said this coming week would be extremely important depending on how this week closed, and I still honestly believe that. So as far as I'm concerned, even if we're below the October open, if 111,640 holds a support and it starts to trade back in the upward direction from that, I would really like that, as that, in my opinion, would be a good support test, and we could look for potential upside continuation from there. Right now, though, today, what are we looking at? Well, right now today, Bitcoin is testing daily resistance. It's just Sunday's closing price. It's the highest daily closing candle since yesterday, so this would be resistance. Bitcoin needs to get above this and trade above that in order for it to no longer be looked at as resistance. We go into the small time frame charts. You can see that it is currently chopping sideways here. You also have the monthly VWAP right there, and then the weekly VWAP up here. So there is a little bit of near-term resistance here. All right. So Bitcoin needs to hold support and move higher. But if you are looking for shorts, as long as you're not closing 30-minute candles back above 114,553, I think you can look for shorts. I think today's probably going to be choppy and sideways based on tomorrow's rate decision. But here's the thing. I never like to see us make a fresh day high, instantly reject the fresh day high, and then trade right back up there, because it makes me feel as if the price is literally looking to liquidate the day high. So as of right now, taking a short would be really risky as far as, before the bell. You might not get back above that, but it looks like it's trying to. So it is a little bit risky. You might get stopped out once, maybe even twice. Maybe it's not even a short. You know what I mean? It does look bullish here. It looks okay as far as I'm concerned. I did take a short earlier this morning. I did expect an October open bounce, but we didn't even get to the October open. So, yeah, this is a pretty nice little bounce here. We'll see what it does. As far as risk markets are concerned, the VIX is right back down below. Right back down below the yearly opening, which is good and bullish for risk markets. We have a gap to fill down here. You can see we traded right to the gap yesterday and currently bounced and gapping up a little bit this morning, but the gap fill is at 1530, and that would be pretty much the last near-term gap on the VIX. I would expect it ultimately to make fresh yearly lows by the end of the year anyway. And as you can see over here, risk markets are absolutely just ripping to the upside. Here is your cash market up here, top right-hand chart. We go over here to the daily on the cash market, which is just the SPX. You can see it is gapping up above everything at fresh all-time highs. So everything is extremely bullish except for Bitcoin. So even though the VIX and risk markets are back to where they should be, Bitcoin hasn't got there yet. So Bitcoin was trading at all-time highs when the bad news came out, and it rejected really hard from up there. And we're still chopping in this area. Since these two markets have repaired themselves, we would expect Bitcoin to repair itself as well and head back in the upward direction. Now, I don't have a bearish bias on Bitcoin. I have a bullish bias on Bitcoin. But if you want to short it based on daily resistance, that's up to you. That's your priority. All right. So that's what we currently have on Bitcoin. That's your long-term analysis and near-term analysis. I think overall it's bullish. It's up on the year. As of right now, it's up on the month. So clearly the bulls have the yearly and monthly, but we'll see. We'll see about the monthly. I'd love to see Bitcoin continuing to trade up. Obviously, I own Bitcoin, so I am a little bit biased in that because I own it, and I love it when it trends up. All right, another trade that we've been in for a long time here, UPS. Basically, I told my community yesterday, I left it up to them if we closed above or if we liquidated 89.49 and rejected because we were coming into pre-market earnings this morning. I left it up to them to make the decision on whether or not they wanted to close the trade. Yesterday's close looked really good for me to keep it open. If it would have been a rejection up here and then ended up as a down day, I probably would have exited the trade. But since it closed up there without doing the liquidation, I really liked the way that looked. So I held it, and I'm glad I did. 95 is the short strike. We have a call spread on this position. We basically bought it over in here. When we liquidated the yearly low, we bought it, and we've been holding it for a while. So I'll be glad to get out of this today. Like I said, the short, we have let me see, the long strike is 85 and the short strike is 95. So damn, that's a $10 wide spread, pretty wide spread. The short strike's at 95, so the profitability really starts to drop off after you get, above 97-ish. Being up here at 100, yeah, I'm going to try to get out as soon as I can. Maybe give it about 15 minutes to allow the volatility to pipe down a little bit, because I'm sure when the bell rings at 9:30, the spreads are going to be terrible on these option contracts. But, I mean, it's in the money. You're not going to make a whole lot more money on that trade. You pretty much maxed out. And then yesterday, we were watching this thing. So we initially shorted this on Sunday and made $300 on this bearish candle here, this purple candle. We shorted up here. This was a liquidation point, and it went down. When it got down into the $300 range, I took the trade and took profits. Basically, that's my daily goal. And then yesterday, when we were trading up here, we shorted it again up here, and it took all day for that trade to work out. But ultimately, it did work out, and we're up $300 on this one again. So this little asset right here has paid me $600 this week already. Not bad. Not bad at all. As far as what is moving today on the alt side of the here, let me get up there. What is it? OLUSDT. OL. That is what we're looking at. That's the big mover for today. Let me pull it up here. We don't want the premium index. We want the perp contract. Okay, so what we're watching here. I don't know what this thing does. Has a very small cent value. It doesn't even have dollar value, so it's probably useless and a garbage token. Probably has very little to no utility, but we'll see. Basically, what I'm looking at here, cumulative volume delta is bullish, but it's pulling back a little bit. I wasn't even paying attention to this indicator. I'm basically just looking at the RSI, and the RSI got massively overcooked up at 90 on the push up, and you can see that it's been 8 hours since it was cooked like that, and it really hasn't gone anywhere. So basically what I'm looking at is I want to see a run below this white line right here, and if it can reject going lower from there, then I'm going to look for a long, look for this divergent signal to be put in and see if we can get a run back above the current day high. If we look how much that would be, you can see that that is a 24% gain if it makes a fresh day high. So potential huge money trade here this morning. Now I can't take the trade right here. I mean, I guess we could, but I don't love it right here. If we go into the intraday, this thing isn't really trading that heavy. It's only been 2 million tokens traded in a 24-hour period, but it's been basing up here for such a long time. One could argue that it's potentially making support right here, right? But I just think that if we could liquidate this swing low and then hold this price, would be a better area to look for a long. I could be totally wrong, right? This thing could absolutely dump. So make sure if you are going to trade OLUSDT today, you are using an amount of money you are okay with losing, because that's how trading works. All right. So up here are my current open positions. This is a real money account. You can see with Mavia right there, that's the one that we shorted. That one's up. I'm going to close this one out here in just a little bit. And then this is a play that we're looking at for a long-term play. This isn't really anything here. And then there's the Bitcoin short that I took a little bit earlier. I need to go ahead and exit this as I didn't have a stop loss on. But yeah, my stop loss should have been triggered when it hit Hive Day. So Bitcoin is currently moving up to the upside right now. There's a little $20 loss. Nothing bad there. So we're okay. Like I said, I don't really love a Bitcoin short here. This asset is bullish. It's bullish on the 4 hour. It's gotten above where Donald Trump caused the spike the other day. So we'll see if it can continue up from here or not. I mean, it looks good, right? It looks like it wants to continue. It did liquidate this swing high yesterday. That's what caused the pullback here. This is also a weekly swing high. So it was an important swing high. So it does make sense that you would liquidate a weekly swing high, pull back for the rest of the day, and then during the London session, they bought it up. So now it looks like it's trying to go up. The big question will be, what do they do in New York? The New York session getting ready to start here in just a minute. Just a minute. And as far as Farcoin, Pingu, and Bonk, if Bitcoin's going to be bullish, I would assume those were going to be bullish as well. We also got long Farcoin yesterday. We bought Farcoin here. And then, of course, when it made a fresh day high, I took profits, moved my stop to break even. And then last night, during the Asian and London session, I got stopped out of that damn trade. So this is why I'm such a huge proponent in taking profits every time you put risk in the open market, because we can't predict what price will do. And when we're taking trades that are literally intraday trades, there's so much stuff that can happen price can go in your direction and come right back. You know what I mean? So it's best to take the money while you have it. This way, if you do get stopped out, it was a winning trade. For me anyways, it really helped change my win ratio, and it also basically brought me from being inconsistent and unprofitable into being consistently profitable. Excuse me, I had to get a drink of water. Water is good stuff. Love it. All right, so yeah, that's what we're looking at. No real setup here on Fartcoin. Currently it's trading above the 50 on the 4-hour, so intraday price action is structured bullish here. Still not bullish on the daily time frame. The daily time frame is still very weak, very bearish. You're still closing dailies under the 21, but yesterday's pullback is consistent with continuation to the upside. Basically, all I mean by that is yesterday you didn't take out Sunday's low. You made a higher low. Now, today we made a lower low. So, yeah, one could argue that you're getting ready to roll over here, right? Because you did make a lower low. So, your daily range for today is a trending candle. And it is trending to the downside. Now, that is what has happened. We don't know that that will continue to happen, but that is what has happened. So you already have a downtrending candle here. It's above the open, so it's currently green. So that makes it a little bit more risky to look for a short because it is currently green on the day. You do have weekly res right here. Let's go look and make sure. Yeah, it's last week's close. So until you close a weekly above that, that's going to be weekly resistance. And the daily looks okay for a short. Here is your current this week VWAP. You can barely see it here on the daily, but if we go intraday down to the 30-minute, you can see you've basically been testing this level or this average as resistance. It is resistance until you start to trend away from it. So as of right now, you could be shorting 4102 as that's your 30-minute resistance. But the bell hasn't started yet. We got 15 minutes till the bell starts, or the market starts, the New York session anyway. So maybe this one would be better to look for shorts than something like Bitcoin. I don't know. But like I said, Bitcoin is the ocean. Fartcoin is a boat that sits upon that ocean. Usually if Bitcoin's tide is up, all the boats are up with it. So if Bitcoin stays bullish today, the chance of making money on short Fartcoin might not be so good. But you are into resistance here, so you could, in theory, look for shorts. I don't like this. I don't like this look, but it is still like each 4-hour candle swing here has been lower. As far as the closes, right? You're closing lower. So resistance is currently holding. Basically, when I get a scenario like this, it's anybody's game. Today's Tuesday. So typically we look for either the weekly high or the weekly low to be either being set or has been set. But since we are literally a doji here on the week, meaning we're just under the weekly open, so we're currently kind of bearish. This is also going to be the weekly open. It does look more like the weekly high has been set. But if we're trading above, then it's going to look like they set the low during the London session. So it's kind of in the middle of no man's land here. Little bit mixed day. Like I said earlier in the stream, tomorrow is going to be a huge news day. It's not just the US, right? Look at all of this news. I only have the very, very extreme important news items on here, and you can see how many there are, right? You got BOC rate decision tomorrow. You got the FOMC rate decision tomorrow. You got the BOJ rate decision tomorrow. Lot of stuff happening tomorrow. Bank of Canada, Bank of Japan, and then, of course, the federal USD. A lot of stuff happening tomorrow. Could be a very volatile day. That's why I think today could essentially be sideways. But OL is bouncing here. It doesn't look like it's going to pull back down to our level that we want to see. This one, I don't really love it, but it is the biggest mover on the day. It's up 78%. We could go look and see if we can get an idea of how much volume. Oh, yeah, way more than average volume on this today. Okay. Yeah. All right. But we have plenty of volume being traded. We have everything we need for this thing to be a huge mover, either up or down. I typically don't like to short them unless they are massively overblown. Massively overblown to me is like a 95. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, this is, I don't like to short them unless they're massively overblown. 95 on the RSI 4 hour to me is massively overblown. And then after we get into that, get into that situation, we could look for a liquidation swing. That's basically all we did yesterday and the day before, right? If you look at the RSI, we were up at 94 the day before. So we looked for that liquidation point, long-term liquidation point. That's where we decided to put our risk on at. And we did make money. We did take profits. We ultimately got stopped out because it wanted to continue higher. So it did print the bearish divergence yesterday during the New York session. So we're looking for a similar play today on OL. But instead of looking for the bearish trade right here, right off the bat, since it's the first day of getting massively overblown, maybe, just maybe, since it's spent so much time going sideways here, it's looking to put a bearish divergence signal on. And as you can see here, right, when you hit the 95, you were down here. So you did get the bearish signal or the bearish divergence signal and got multiple 4-hour candles back to the upside. So that's basically all we're looking at on the OL. We're looking for something similar to this. I don't necessarily want to short it where it is. And it's, being at 77, it's still overbought, but it's not massively overblown. So I would rather take this one to the long side. I didn't get a fill. I don't want to take it here. I want to take it down here. I'm very picky when it comes to things like this. But hopefully we can make some money today. I mean, we've already made money today. What the hell am I talking about? Hopefully we can make more money today. More is always better. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning, LMG, Light Machine Gun 786. Good morning. Good morning, Janice Thoughts. Good morning, Paper Wiggleman, Photo Box. What's happening, my friends? Been a little bit. Bitcoin, a leading indicator for liquidity. Could be a sign that of all markets running out of time to move up much more. Okay, let me read that one more time. Bitcoin, a leading indicator for liquidity. I agree. Could be a sign of all markets running out of time to move up much more. Yeah, I mean, that's one way we could look at it, right? Bitcoin is currently signaling weaker markets than what risk markets are saying. But my concern with looking at it like that would be more or less a pessimistic way to look at it. Instead of the optimistic way would be Bitcoin is probably going to repair because Bitcoin is in a bull market. And the macro supports a bull market right now. Lowering of interest rates supports a liquidity push, right? It makes it easier for banks to loan money. It makes it easier for people to get money when interest rates are lower. more people will want to get those loans with the lower interest rate. So the macro supports a bull market. The only bearish thing that you can say for Bitcoin right now is you do have a technical bearish signal, being the Wyckoff distribution or the 3-drive topping formation. And then the secondary thing that everybody's talking about is the 4-year market cycle. Here's the thing, the way that I feel, like if we didn't have ETFs and 5 MicroStrategy products and then all these Bitcoin treasury companies, I would say, yeah, I'm going to be shorting based on the 4-year market cycle. But since we do have all those ETFs and treasury companies and MicroStrategy products, people have a way to basically participate in Bitcoin volatility. Also, your investors that have full-time jobs that put money into their 401ks, they have the ability to put Bitcoin in their 401k now based on the ETFs. The 4-year market structure or the 4-year market cycle theory may no longer be any good. We don't know that it isn't going to be any good. We will only be able to look like by January. If Bitcoin isn't down 20%, you could probably say the 4-year market cycle's cooked. If we look at BLX, let's go look at the BLX index real quick. Yesterday, I put on a short on Euro USD. Also, I got stopped out of that trade, but I put a new short on it again today. So basically, I'm hedging a short. I have a short on USD Swiss franc, which is currently losing, and a short on Euro USD. These two positions offset one another. So hopefully, whichever one ends up trending, I will be in the right position, if that makes sense. That's essentially what I'm doing here, because the dollar is in a 6-month range. But anyways, let's pull up the BLX index. All right, and let's look at the monthly. I used to have the 4-year market cycles. Okay, hang on. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's not that one. This is going to screw everything up. Give me 1 second. There we go. Wait. Perfect. All right. So if we look at the BLX index, which is just basically Bitcoin, it has all of Bitcoin's data. Let's turn it on log. The hell is that? Okay, so every single time that you had a halving, Bitcoin ultimately did top out like a year later, right? Not just 1 year. It was like the second year, basically November or December, right? Every single time. It's been November or December every single time. Even last cycle, it was November. It rolled over in November. So every time Bitcoin was done before the end of the year. So it's very simple to say if the 4-year market cycle is going to play out or not here, right? Very simple. November is next month. December is after that. So if by January you're not done, or at least a significant ways off the top, you can pretty much count that as being over with. Now, the reason we didn't get bearish last cycle because of the 4-year market cycle only. We got bearish because of the 4-year market cycle and the Fed was hiking or going to start hiking interest rates. We had inflation running way out of control, up at like 9. That's the reason we got bearish. So it was two reasons. The 4-year market cycle and the Fed. This year, or this time, we have the 4-year market cycle and that's it, right? That's it. And a technical signal. The Fed is the opposite. They're doing the opposite of what they were doing back here. That's why I'm not super bearish right now. If we had real high inflation and the Fed was rumoring about starting to hike interest rates, then we would be extremely bearish on Bitcoin right now. But that is not what we're doing. We are opposite of that. We have a macro bullish scenario for Bitcoin. It's only a technical signal. For me, I need the macro to support the technical, or at least be with it. Right now, the macro is bullish. So since the macro is bullish, the way I'm going to do Bitcoin moving forward is I'm going to watch weekly closes around the 21. If Bitcoin is closing weekly candles under the 21, I'm going to be looking for a bear market, or at least positioning myself short in Bitcoin futures. I will not sell the Bitcoin I own. I'll just look for shorts to basically be inverse to the amount of money I hold long in the cold storage wallet. So for instance, if you got 50 grand worth of Bitcoin, you would want to take a short position that around 10% or 15% dip would put you at parity of that 15% or 50K. So that way, if you have a significant move lower in Bitcoin, you will actually be at par with the amount that you hold. So that way you don't lose any money. While Bitcoin experiences a massive pullback, you will actually probably make a little bit of money, because once that position goes into parity, it will start making money if Bitcoin continues to go down, because your short will then start to overtake how much you're losing on the long. You see what I'm saying? So that's what futures are for. They're basically to protect capital. So you can do that. I have no problem with hedging Bitcoin up at all-time highs. In fact, I support it. I absolutely support it. Protect your gains, guys. Protect your capital. Yep, no pants, never. And is CME gap an issue in your mind? Not really. Not really. Gaps, here's the thing. Gaps usually do fill, but it's going the opposite direction currently. The CME gap that he's referring to is here. So here's your Friday close, right? And the CME closes on Friday. So basically the CME opened yesterday up here. So there is a gap from Friday's close to yesterday's close. So the gap in question is here in the gray shaded area. No, because most retail are shorting Bitcoin today to fill the gap. And only time will tell if they're right. I wouldn't be shorting Bitcoin based on this gap fill. I would be shorting Bitcoin based on the fact that it was rejecting resistance. It isn't right now. Right? It isn't right now. So, I mean, this is a pretty healthy, explosive up move. If it would have just liquidated the day high and then reversed back under resistance, then I would have shorted it based on that signal, not the gap. I don't care about the gap. I don't care about the gap. The gap can be unfilled for years and years and years. Years and years and years. And here's an example of that. So I'm glad you brought the question up. It's a really good question. But a lot of people think that gaps have to fill. They do not. Here is the S&P 500 chart. And every gray line you see on this chart is an unfilled gap. Okay? Those are all unfilled gaps. Every one of them. You can check by this gap here. Let's just look at this gap here. Here's another unfilled gap. Here's another unfilled gap. So gaps do not have to fill. It's a misnomer, if you will. A lot of retail people think that gaps do fill and they have to fill. They do not. So gaps are literally zero part of my analysis or strategies. Like, I never put a trade on based on a gap. I only put trades on if my technical signals are being played out. And then if my trade is in the direction of a gap fill, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Then obviously I'm okay with it. But yeah, don't ever just take a trade for a gap fill. Make sure. Wait, what? Okay, so the bell just opened and this UPS trade is like crazy. It's saying that I'm like massively down on the trade. And that is not true. Yeah. We're just going to have to wait for the market to chill out. Because that's not true at all. This trade it should be making big money. I am long 85, short 95. My long strike covers the short strike. There we go. That's better. Okay. I was getting ready to say, what the hell? So you can see here, it just said that I was down $350. I was about to throw a conniption fit. All right. That's much better. I'll still give it a couple minutes. I mean, I'm not making a tremendous much more amount of money up here than if it gets down to 95. It's going to be pretty much the same. It's just very volatile right now. But yeah, never take a trade just based on a gap fill. Make sure you have a technical signal to take the trade. So let's go back to Fartcoin and see what it's doing right now. So Fartcoin also checking resistance right here. I like the way Fartcoin is struggling. So the actual greatest short for me on Fartcoin would be 41.28. If indeed it does reject there again. I don't want to chase it down to here. But I mean, if I miss it, I miss it. But this would be the signal for the short. It's not a great short because Bitcoin is bullish right now, right? So we're going against the Bitcoin trend. But Fartcoin is bearish. Fartcoin's bearish on the year, bearish on the daily. And then here's this current week's VWAP. Last week's VWAP is no longer of relevance. This weekly resistance is also the weekly open. So if you're going to look for shorts, I would short this one instead. Let's see if we can get a pullback. And we'll take the short entry on that. So I'm going to set a couple of alerts here. I'm going to set an alert because I can't trade this if it doesn't give me a setup. And then this also, I'm going to set an alert on this to get out. All right, beautiful. I'm not going to I don't want to let this thing here. Let me just go ahead and close this one. I'm not going to full on close it. I'm going to adjust it. I'll just set the stop down here because it's into potential support. The 21 can act as support on the 4 hour. You're also testing the 50 on the RSI on the 4 hour. This is a profit-taking zone for shorts. So this could wiggle sideways here for many 4-hour sessions. So I'm not going to just sit in this while it does nothing. If it wants to continue to trend lower, I'll more than gladly sit in it. But I definitely do not want to be sitting in it if it's going back to the upside at support. Because this isn't a pump and dump. Sure, it's a massive down move. If you look at from where we're short from here, that's a 36% move. So technically speaking, that's down enough for me to say, yeah, more than likely this is done. It's a blow off. Generally, I like over 40, like 45% off the highs is a blow off for me, but it isn't a pump and dump. A pump and dump, you literally liquidate or whatever, and then blah, you give it all back. This isn't went blah yet. This is just, it was massively overbought yesterday, and the funding rate was paying shorts pretty heavily, I might add. It was got up to 0.16% every 4 hours paying the shorts. That's a pretty heavy funding rate, skewed to be a seller. Now the funding rate is back to normal. It's still paying shorts, but it's back to normal at 0.009. The funding rate's not heavy enough to... Basically, I'll lose a lot of money if it spikes again. And it can, right? If it's not done being manipulated, it can definitely spike again. So basically, us trading these big movers is just us trying to scout momentum in the direction of the manipulation. So I got that situated. Let's get Bitcoin back up over here. As we're seeing a pullback here on S&P, makes sense. We're at the top edge of the weekly expected move. So it does make sense that we see a pullback here. It's insane to me that we're all the way up here already on Tuesday. But it was that Wes told me yesterday that Trump spoke to President Xi in China, and it appears as if they're going to get a deal done. That's what we were concerned with. That's why we never really got super bearish here. Because Trump usually says things and then backs off, right? Trump wants the markets to be bullish. So most of his policies are going to stick with bullish. We're just going to have to deal with the near-term volatility that he causes. It's very annoying. He stops me out quite often. I do not like that. But Bitcoin looking really good up here. We'll keep an eye on Fartcoin. Okay, so Fartcoin is going to give us a short op. All right, let me get Fartcoin pulled up on the trading app. I don't love the structure here for a short. Clearly, it's the opposite of what we should be looking for. We should be long. We should have been looking to buy Fartcoin. We did buy it yesterday. We got stopped out here, and that's freaking annoying. But as long as we're rejecting 41.28, we can be a seller. You're going against the momentum. The momentum here is bullish. It's not the best setup. Technical wise, you could say there's a 4-hour supply zone here that seems to be holding, and I would agree with you. It does seem to be holding right now. Will it hold later? That's the question. It looks like Fartcoin's trying to break out. So here we go. Set limit 41.28. Very small position. I'm only going to set a short to the size that I will only lose 30 bucks if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that limit out. The World Coin Long, it's a play on Dan Ives. He just became a big leader or a CEO of Orbs, which is a company that exploded in value when the news was announced that Dan Ives was going to be a big part of it. He's a very, he's a tech bro, right? He made a lot of really good bullish calls on tech plays. And whenever he gets involved with a tech company, people pay attention. I mean, this thing was trading at $1 and hit $80 in one day. Now, obviously, it's been sold off, and we want to let it sell off. We want to let it sell off. We want to let it fall as low as it wants to fall. Right? We want to let it, because when it does get in, it's in price discovery right now. It's looking for value. When it finds value, then we're going to get long. And you can either get long by buying shares of Orb. I don't know what price value will be. Obviously, I can't see into the future, but when it starts chopping sideways like this, that's value. It doesn't mean that it'll stay value forever, but once it goes into consolidation, one could arguably say it's trying to see if 4 or 596 is value here right now. So be careful. And I only own $96 worth of WorldCoin with 6x leverage on it. Very small position, very small leverage. I did it that way so I can just sit in it and hold it for however long it takes for this thing to find value and start to trade back in the upward direction. If we go look at WorldCoin itself, you can see it did the same thing on the same day. As Orb exploded, WorldCoin also exploded in value. The reason I like WorldCoin better than Orb is because WorldCoin has already given all of that back. It already gave all of that move back, and it liquidated the lows already twice. So we liquidated the lows here, and we traded sideways for many days, and then liquidated the lows again, set in a similar to the Wyckoff distribution formation. You have kind of put in a Wyckoff accumulation formation here, which is just a 3-drive bottoming formation, right? When your lows are insignificant. So I want to be holding longs here with a stop down in here. If we get back under 81 cents, I'm getting out of it. If it can hold 81 cents, I want to be long. But I put on the trade yesterday, so it's not, it's a nothing burger, right? My stop is all the way down here. If it holds this pattern and starts to build in support here, I want to be long for the long haul. I think because this trade is going to pay dividends for AI companies that want to basically, not AI companies specifically, but advertisement companies. Ad companies that want to be able to tell if they're advertising to humans or bots. This will be very important for that in the future. Though it does have a long-term value proposition. All right, going back to Fartcoin, because we're currently seeing if it's setting up a short or if it's going to blow shorts out of the water. Looks like it's trying to blow shorts out of the water, but we'll see. Hi Heath, I'm considering short of the 210 region on Solana. What are your thoughts on that? Just a day trade. So just for today? Oh, where is Solana? There you are. It's down on the month. I like that. It's up on the year. I do not like that. Let me go take a look at it though. Okay, so you got September's open acting as potential support here. All right, so that would be a big no for me on the day trade because we never short into support. We want to short at resistance, not into support. So clearly, you can see how price is being choppy here. That means people are putting positions on based on this level. So you got people buying it, you got people selling it. So it's in price discovery here at September's open. So if you were to short it here, you got about a 1% move down into what is potential support. So you would need a breakdown to happen in order to make money on this trade. So I don't love it based on that reason alone. You're building in support here on multiple time frames. But this is your monthly open here for this month. So you're currently down on the month, but it looks like the bears could not keep it below the yearly open. So it looks like the bulls have won that fight down there. I think you're going against the trend. I think that would be on the wrong side of the trade. All right, I just got filled on the Fartcoin short. So, yeah, I mean, the technical level to sell, if support wasn't here, I would be looking at 4-hour resistance. You're also above your weekly open. So your weekly open is also going to act as potential support. It would be you're looking at shorts right into support. There's last week's high. I mean, I can make the argument that if it fails at last week, if it fails at last week's high, what in the heck is going on? Then you would want to be holding shorts. My only concern is it's so close to support. So in order to make money, you need this to break down. When price is telling you here that it doesn't, like if the bears were right, they would have been able to get downside continuation from there, right? But they couldn't. It doesn't mean it won't fail in the future. It just, for my style of trading, this is not a trade. You were testing support. You're bouncing from support. There's not enough value. It's only a 1% move back to support. If support was down here, then I'd be like, yeah, of course, you could take that. I don't like it. And this is also going to be, it is a crypto, right? It does trade with Bitcoin. It looks similar to Bitcoin, doesn't it? Like right now, Bitcoin had a big gigantic move on Tuesday 2 weeks ago, and then it got sold off, right? And now it's back up above that. Same with Solana. So if I'm right on Bitcoin and Bitcoin continues to go up, Solana more than likely is going, and so is Fartcoin for that matter, likely going to continue to go up. You need Bitcoin to fail here today for the Solana trade to work. I think the better trade, my friend, would be Fartcoin short, not Solana. See, Fartcoin is currently testing resistance. See, Fartcoin doesn't have any support under it, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no real big objective level that could potentially cause Fartcoin to catch support. So for me, as far as attractiveness, and like if I was rating the short Fartcoin or short Solana in attractiveness, I would say the Fartcoin short is far more attractive than the Solana short. Hopefully that answers your question. But even though, like, I still don't love Fartcoin for a short. Not as long as it's trading above the weekly VWAP. This means the volume is bullish or more bullish than it is bearish. Let's see if we can pull up cumulative volume delta and see if that gives us a sell signal. It's not super bullish. It's not bearish though. But it's not super bullish yet. It is bullish, but it's not super bullish yet. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? If it breaks out from here, you're probably going to see deltas act more bullish than bearish. It's a mixed bag. The technical signal is holding, but how long will it hold for? I don't like this 5-minute close. That's a higher 5-minute close than the previous swings. All these previous swings here are, yeah, you've broken out, you've closed above all of those. So what we need to see now, we need to see that low get taken out. If this low doesn't get taken out, we're probably wrong on the short. Delta suggests we're wrong. Bitcoin suggests we're wrong. Only time will tell. This is still struggling. I don't know if we're going to get a trade-off on this. Now I don't love it. The 200's coming up into there on the 5-minute. So I would definitely, if it breaks down and comes down here and rejects going lower, stops going lower, I'll try it. I'll get long, but I'm not going to chase it. It's too extended for the chase, but it's not too extended for a 3081 entry. So Fartcoin, let's go. Give us that bearish volume. That's last week's open. So this needs to move. Up there. Yeah, as long as we're trading above July's low, I like Bitcoin higher. That's the monthly range. You break down under that, then you have a downtrend on your hand. As long as you're trading above that, it's still bullish. Okay, Fartcoin is trying to push. Even if it takes this low out, it doesn't mean it's done. I would just rather see that. For anybody just joining us, we are short Fartcoin at 41.28. Even though Bitcoin and everything is bullish, it's not the best day for shorts. Because we got big news coming tomorrow. Big news. So today's likely going to be choppy and boring. We'll probably go live for that news tomorrow. Because it is such big news. So we probably won't be live streaming in the morning. Why is this down so bad? I mean, why is it green and down is what I'm talking about. Like, this is not right. All right, I'm going to close that UPS long. Now that options has, settled down a bit. It's a $300 win. I need to get filled though, so I need to lower it a little bit. All right, let me see. Let me put you guys over there real fast. So basically, I want to just close the position. Oh my gosh, that'd be a massive no. All right, let's see. It's just falling like a brick. Okay. Let's see if it can hold that for a minute. Yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. We're gonna see if it can hold 95. If not, we'll just bounce, right? $300 was our profit target. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get a fill at $300, but it's close enough, right? But I don't understand why that daily candle is green. It should absolutely be purple. So that is a mess up on what you would call it. Okay, Fartcoin's going up strongly now. So we'll see what happens here, but that's more than likely going to stop people out. And now you can see that bullish delta coming in here. That's the midpoint. Check. Yeah, this is probably going to do it. Bitcoin is just as strong as it can be here intraday. What's Ethereum doing? Ethereum's spiking a little bit as well. Ethereum also trading up to its weekly VWAP. If Ethereum finds resistance here, that would be good for Fartcoin, but I would have rather seen it fail. You know what I mean? When it broke down back under October's open and retested the VWAP and the open, I would have rather seen it break down and start to trend. But it didn't. It stopped going down and it came right back. It looks like an inverted head and shoulders. I wouldn't be getting long into this stuff here, but the long would have been looking for the day low liquidation by the London session. That's what they did. 2 a.m. is when the London session starts. The market opened in London and they hit buy. Huh. So yeah, that's kind of what we need, but yeah, that I don't like that close. That's a higher close. So we're kind of against the trend here. This is probably going to end badly. It's not going to end badly. It's going to end in a stop. Like I said, I was going to lose a maximum of $30 on that trade because I didn't love it. So I'm not going to risk a buttload of money on something I don't love. Looks like it's going to continue pushing up. Can you please look at saucer swap? If I can pull that up on this, then I will. I don't have any of the random, like I don't have the small, less known exchanges. I don't even know what the ticker is for saucer swap. I need a ticker. Yeah, that sounds like something that if you can give me a ticker, I'll pull it up for you. But if it's on an arbitrary exchange, I'm not going to be able to, more than likely. Because there's some exchanges that TradingView don't have access to for whatever reason. The smaller, less known exchanges. If you can give me the ticker, I will look it up for you. I will analyze it for you or give you my opinion on it. I'm going to see if UPS has bottomed here. If it has, I'll leave the long open. See if we can get it back up into the 97.50 area. Then I'll close it. Ups. Even Bonk looks bullish here. Pingu looks bullish here as well. But it's literally into resistance. Same as Fartcoin, like it. You can see how they're still bearish. Still bearish. So they're weaker than Bitcoin is for sure. But the bears haven't really been able to do anything. The 4-hour looks okay. Yeah, the 4-hour looks okay. Okay, Sauce USDT. Oh, it's that easy. Should have been able to pull that up. Yeah, let's go look at it. MEXC Coin X Gate IO Bybit BitGet Binance. That's a premium index, so that's for safe anyway. All right, looks like MEXC it is. And you said the weekly chart looks like about to explode after a massive descending triangle. I can see that as well. I mean, if we put on the massive descending triangle, would look something like that. The log chart, it doesn't work, but I mean, it's still kind of a descending triangle or a descending wedge, but you got a lot further to go to break out. So it does look like it's trying to hold support at roughly 30.49. All right, so the monthly looks bad and you're breaking down. So as long as you're trading under September's low, it's not great. It doesn't mean it's done. It just means it's trending lower. So You can see that you've been trading in a 3-month range here. So you would want to see a liquidation below this point and then it jumped back up into the range. It didn't do that. It actually broke down and then you got downside continuation. So this is going to act as near-term resistance. You really need to be able to get back above that. If it gets back above September's low, then I like it. I like it higher. As long as it's below September's low, I do not like it that much. But with that being said, there is long-term support down there. So I don't hate that it's bouncing off of a long-term support. So since this is a trap, since it broke down below support, this would be support. That's your lowest monthly closing red candle. So that's support. See how you broke down and closed under it, and then the very next candle exploded. So this is a trap. When we get those trap candles like that, we always revert back to the last support. So that's the area to be a buyer, or was the area to look for longs. You could have started to build a position Friday, October the 17th. Ultimately, people did because you got a really nice bounce from there. Yeah, I would say as long as you're trading in between here and here, you can look to build a position at 34.01 with a, a stop, of course. I'd probably try to get the stop in at 31.81. I wouldn't go in with an amount of money that I didn't care to lose, because this could just be a short covering rally. It looks more like a support, but it could be a short covering rally. The problem with short covering rallies is generally when you get the big spikes, the short sellers jump back on. But yeah, if you can hold 34.01 with daily closes, I could be a buyer there. I wouldn't be a buyer where it is right here, right now, today, because of where resistance is. And then the next level of potential resistance would be the October open. So yeah, I could buy it here or wait for support to build in up here. You could watch for support on a 4-hour time frame or something like that. You know what I mean? You would want to see. Well, the pen isn't working. You would just want to see 4-hour candles like closing right here at the level, but holding. If that happened, then I could be a buyer looking for a higher high. But where it is right now, to me, it's not a trade. Hopefully that helps. I got a task manager, my pen, it is broken. You are welcome, my friend. No problem. All right, let's see if that fixed it. There we go. Pen fixed. Yeah. Beautiful. So Farcoin's trying to push higher, right? This isn't good. This is not the kind of reaction we want to see if we have a bearish bias. Not at all. Give it a couple more seconds here, and then I'm probably just gonna bail. I do like that the point of control migrated up here. Now I do want to see a rejection here, and it needs to happen soon, or I'm going to bail. So the point of control migrated up from here to there. Now that could be bad news for bears also, because now that you've liquidated these stops, is it going to force more buying pressure? Only time will tell. Generally, when the profile looks like this, we generally expect upside continuation. Because the way the profile works, there's your backing. Either, like when it looks like this, we typically expect it to go higher and end up looking like that. End the day with the point of control in the middle with all these volume nodes up here like that. So the profile looks like we could see upside continuation all day. If it fails here and rejects and starts to break down, then we're going to be okay. But this isn't a great look. I like that the point of control migrated higher. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But we need to see price start to prove that they're selling it. We really don't see that on Delta yet either. Can you explain why you decided to short FART and why did you choose a specific level for the short? Absolutely. Great question. So instead of shorting, Solana has support, right? Your major levels, like your monthly opens, monthly swing lows, weekly opens, weekly swing lows, those levels tend to act as support and resistance. So we don't want to short an asset when support or a potential support is right under it. We know that if Bitcoin stays bullish, most cryptos are going to be bullish today. So Fartcoin or Solana has the September open right here. The weekly open right under the September open. Both of these are potential support zones. So if we try to short it, at the most we could look for, like the most we could look for, would be a sell here and a take profit here. Because this is the support. You would need a move beyond support to make money. You would need that. And in my experience, you typically do not get stuff like that. So I built a strategy to locate these areas and then to operate in a way that is conducive to them. So if we go look at Fartcoin, right? Let's get rid of all the indicators. And we look at the monthly. So like, okay, for instance, let's use this. You see how March's open is all the way down here? So if Fartcoin was trading down here, we would not be trying to short it because it would be in support. It's at support. So Solana is at support. We don't want to short that. We would want to short at a resistance level as long as there's no clear, obvious support under it. So here's the weekly open. This week's open. There's Monday. So you opened here on the week. You traded up. You traded up into Friday's high and rejected and closed bearish yesterday. So that set your weekly range right there. That's your weekly low. That's your weekly high. Today we opened here, pushed down, made a fresh weekly low. So this candle is trending down. It's green right now though. So it looking like this was a rejection. Right? But there's still, the next weekly open is all the way down here. And since there's no monthly levels in between our weekly open and this weekly open, we could potentially look for a short here and target here, because that's the next large level of potential support. So that basically gives us a potential. If we reject here, of course, we don't know if it's going to reject. We never do. But if it does, that gives us a potential to make 9%. Whereas if you look at Solana and you short here and it stops at support, your potential is less than 1%. So there's not even a trade here. Like, it's not even worth the risk. Retail doesn't understand these small things, and that's why they're so wrong all the time. They're trying to get short at levels they shouldn't be. They're looking for price to break down through levels price most likely will not. Like, they're doing it all wrong. These are the reasons why we have so many successful wins. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to make money on Fartcoin, but the potential is there. Hence, we like Fartcoin better for the short. And then your technical reasons are it's weak. It's closing dailies under the 21 exponential. That means it's weak. You're under the monthly VWAP. That means it's weak. You know what I mean? There are several reasons that state that this asset is objectively weaker than Bitcoin is. So if Bitcoin rejects resistance today, then we would want to be short Fartcoin, because if Bitcoin rolls over, the chances are that Fartcoin will roll over with it. But since Bitcoin isn't rolling over, the chances of Fartcoin rolling over are very slim. I'm stopped out of Fartcoin, by the way. I lost $30 on Fartcoin. And that's the reason. Like, this is the reason Fartcoin is not weak today. So if Bitcoin did get weak here, instead of shorting Bitcoin, Fartcoin was the better short. Even better than Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is trading up into its weekly VWAP and the monthly VWAP, but look where the monthly open is. It's literally right here. So even if we did short Bitcoin, the potential for profit, the profit potential would only be to here. And that's also less than 1%. That's why we like the short on Fartcoin better than Bitcoin, than Solana, than every other asset. Like, literally. It's like, that's where learning a strategy really helps people. You know what I mean? Because they can look at an asset. When you have the ability to just look at an asset and say, I don't like this because of this, then that means you're going to take less losses. You still won't have the ability to predict what price will do. You never will. You don't need to be able to predict what price will do. We know these levels work. We know they do. We've seen it time and time again. You can back test it. You can see it for yourself. Look at Bitcoin on a monthly chart. Right? Let's get rid of everything. We're going to keep the two orange lines. Just ignore them. You see these monthly candles here? They've been trading in a range, right? You're still trading inside this candle's range. If I were to mark this candle's low and this candle's high, you could have shorted here and made money down to here. Or at least down to here. Right? But if you were shorting Bitcoin here and looking for it to go down to here, well, you can see that it most likely isn't going to because it's got to go through July's open. And that is an objective price point. This will always be July's open for the rest of our lives. It will never change. If you would have been a buyer at July's open, say in September, and targeted, I don't know, here, would you have made money if you bought there and got out there? Yes. Yes, you would have. Yep. You would have. So we are operating inside of price ranges that are already there for us. Like the market has already gave us the levels to operate in. It's up to us to decide direction if we're taking a directionally biased trade. There are trades you can take that are delta neutral. Like, for instance, you can sell calls above 124 and you can sell puts below 103. And as long as price doesn't close above either one of those levels before expiration, you will make money. Like, it's the same principle. UPS. Why are we buying UPS? Right? We bought it because it was at monthly support. So if I go back into a daily time frame here, when price trades back into this level, I know I want to be a buyer. When do I no longer want to be a buyer? If it goes below this level. Because if it goes below that level, that's that monthly low. If it goes below this level, then it's trending. It's trending down, and we don't want to buy an asset that is trending down. It makes perfect sense, but for whatever reason, people don't want to hear it. They want to go off and trade the strategies that just are proven inconsistent and unmoney makeable. It's like, oh, it's guaranteed to be unprofitable and I'm guaranteed to lose all my money. Sign me the F up, bro. It's so weird, but that's what people flock to. But yeah, that's why we liked Fartcoin. That's also why we liked UPS. Now, our stops on UPS are below $82 because objectively speaking, you are trending down. And you don't want to buy assets that are trending down. You don't want to short assets that are trending up. A trend following strategy, you go with the trend. That is why it is so easy for us to be on the right side of Bitcoin, literally always. We don't always make money on our trades. We do lose trades. But we mitigate our risk so good that when we're wrong, we're very wrong, very little. When we're right, we make way more than we lose. I lost $30 on the Fartcoin short today. I literally made $300 on maybe a short yesterday and $300 on maybe a short Sunday. And you can clearly see this asset's trending up. But still. Now, I did lose one short on maybe a yesterday. We originally shorted it early. We were what's that word? Patient. We were impatient, right? We instead of waiting for the liquidation, we decided to try to get in a little earlier. And then we got stopped. Big deal. We just took it again. We lost $20 on the first shot. We made, well, we're up to 393 right now. So, and like I said, I already booked $315 worth of profit Sunday. So I'm making $400 on this short right now, almost. I've taken 3 trades on it. I won one of $300. I lost one of $20. I won another one of $300. That's how you consistently make money. So I got stopped out of Fartcoin just now, but look at what Fartcoin's doing now. See that? So it might go without me. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to chase it here. I will be patient. If it comes back up here again and fails again, I will try it one more time. One more time. And then if I get stopped out again, I'm done for the day. Boop. I lost $60 on Fartcoin. I'm done for the day. Because that's my max risk is $90. I short and long $30 pops. I use correct position sizing, correct risk mitigation. So that's my risk every day. I can lose $90 a day, but I'm trying to make like 300. So it's better than a 3-to-1 risk to reward. There are some days where I only lose like 60 or $90, and there are some days where I make thousands of dollars. But I never lose in one day more than $90. Because at that point, I turn it off. I'm done. I no longer trade. I give it a rest. I wait till the next day because I've been doing this for so long. I know over time I'm going to make money. It's a great strategy. And it's very easy to learn. Objectively speaking, analysis will help you so much. And I'm so glad you asked that question. A lot of people already know, like people that have been following me for a long time, they already know. So here we go. Here we go. This is our last chance on the Fartster. I'm not going to bet way more money. I'm going to bet the same amount. Same amount. And I'm going to risk the same amount. Same amount. Because I can't predict what this is going to do. Therefore, I can't go in and try to make a shitload of money on it because I think I'm going to be right. No. I'm right long term because of how I mitigate my risk. How I manage my money. That's how come I make money. But these are very good reasons why to take trades. You just have to first identify, is the asset trending or is it range bound? Because there's a million different strategies. If the asset is trending, you typically want to be looking for trend trades. If the asset is range bound for many months, then you want to be looking for range bound trades. Right? Like the liquidation break trade or the news strategy. We look for big liquidation above a specific level, then we look for a failure at that level. Then we take the trade. That's usually a reversion trade or an against the trend trade. And that, when I take those kind of trades, sometimes I confuse people a lot. So many people just dropped off like crazy. I don't know what's going on. So I guess those people already know. They're already making money. But yeah, that's why we chose Fartcoin. So like Sauce, for instance, the person that asked about Sauce, all I did was got the levels that Price has already given us to work with here. You can do that yourself. You can do that yourself. So if you delete all this, forget about that, forget about this, forget about that, forget about this. Just look at this candle here. This one candle. Why? Well, because Price has been trading inside of this candle's range from low to high since this candle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You are in a 4-month range, objectively speaking. The second objective thing I can say about this asset is, objectively speaking, this asset is down on the year. It is bearish on the year. I don't care about 2024 because we already paid taxes on 2024. I only care about 2025 because that's the year we're in. Objectively speaking, SOS USDT is a bearish asset and has been in a 4-month range. Objectively speaking, this is bearish, not bullish. So the trend would be to sell SOS at 7498. That does not mean you will make money. It just means that's the trend, and that would be the trade to make. Now, I can also say, if you want to go against the trend, you want to be a buyer because you have inside information or whatever, I don't care why, then you want to be a buyer where? At 2865. Why? Because if price is trading above this level, then it's still in this range. That is it. That is the only reason why. If price is breaking down below this level, you are no longer in a 4-month range. You are objectively trending, and you are back to the year trend, which is down. And you don't want to buy that. Because right now, all the sauce bulls are trying to buy this thing because they want this thing to go this way. They will be wrong if it gets down here. They will lose their money. Then they will try to buy it again and lose money, again, lose money, again, lose money, again, lose money. And then they'll give up and say that these strategies aren't worth garbage, when literally all they needed to know was stop buying it there. No longer are you a buyer if price is under 28.79, because it's objectively trending lower. But as long as it's holding this, it's anybody's guess, right? It's anybody's game. The bulls could win. Absolutely. Now, sometimes you don't want to wait for this level, right? Like this thing's already came down and has started to bounce, right? That's where our older strategies come into play. Like I said earlier, this candle broke down below this low right here. So when it was trading under it, it was trending down. Let's make this level red because that's literally like the last line of defense. Like you are no longer buying this asset when it's under 2862. Now go look at this on a daily time frame and look what happened, right? So you bought it here, you're buying it here. It tested it on this one day and rejected. So that caused people to buy. This daily candle caused impatient traders to buy it. Then more people bought on this day, and then this day right here told all those people they were wrong. Most people are trading with lots of leverage, so just this little tiny dip below most likely stopped everybody out. And then this was just a 1-2, right? Boom, boom, knocked them out. Everybody threw up their hands and said, this asset's going to zero. We're all done. Nobody was trading it to the upside anymore. Then it reversed. It literally reversed. came back in for a retest, and later, it's already liquidated everybody to this side. Now it's time to go find supply. It found it. This also brings in new traders because everybody that got stopped out down here, now they're going to buy it up here. And now the game continues. So this strategy just helps you guys stop falling victim to all the games that are played inside these markets. All these people are getting rich and you guys are getting absolutely wrecked. And I got sick of watching it happen. But anyways, I'll answer. Let me say this finally and ultimately. This is the last line that you can be a buyer here. It did not trend. That's what I was trying to say. It did for 2 days, but then it got back above. So that's when my community would have started buying this. Right here. And we would have taken our money off right through here. We wouldn't have caught all that. No way. We would have been scaling out right through here. Yeah, it's so much better. Always the best. If you new here and want to learn trading, just subscribe, turn on the bell. Oh, thank you, sir. He's doing that for me. So on Fart, you just shorted daily res and targeted weekly support. Exactly. Yep. And because I can't predict what price will do, right? I can't tell you if I will make money or not. But yeah, that is it. And don't get too caught up on daily reses, Bill, because I got into a lot of problem with that too, because then a lot of newer traders just started only looking at daily resistance levels and they weren't focusing on the bigger picture. What I want you all to do from now on is when you're even thinking about trading an asset, I want you to first find out, is it up on the year or is it down on the year? That's the first thing you do. Is it up or down on the year? All you got to do is find the yearly open. Boom. Simple. Done. Next, is it trending or is it in a range, a multi-month range, right? Or is it trending? Are monthly candles making fresh lows and fresh lower closes? Same for the upside. Fresh higher closes, fresh highs, right? That will give you the trend. Then all you need to wait on is for a price level to be tested, and then that's when you operate. That's when you as a trader put risk on. When it comes to your level. That could be a monthly open. Or like if you're looking to be a buyer, for instance, on an asset that is bullish. Okay, we look at the S&P 500. I don't have any lines on this chart. What is this? What is that? I have no indicators open. What? That's a VWAP. Okay, get rid of that. All right, perfect. So year, January, open, boom, got it. Asset trending up. Is it? Yes. It's up on the year, check. Is it making higher highs and higher closes? Check. Okay, where's the first level you want to be a buyer? Boom. Done. Can't trade. Set alert. Alert on SPX 666492. Got it. Done. So now, when the S&P comes back to here, I can be a buyer. Right? Done. That's it. Make sure when you buy this, you don't risk every dime you own with 100x leverage. Because this is just a trade. We never want to lose more than 1% of our total risk capital on any given trade. They are all the same. Every trade is the same. There will not ever be a better trade than another. when it comes to risk parameters. There are better setups than others, but risk-wise will always be the same. That's my strategy. That's for trend trading. Now, if I want to look for reversals, right? I think this is long in the tooth. There's a technical signal telling me the S&P 500 is going to roll over. There isn't. I'm not saying that the S&P is going to roll over. I'm simply saying if I wanted to take a trade on the S&P 500 because of ... fill in the blank, then I would simply be looking for it to fail here. So for this is why yearly opens, quarterly opens, monthly opens, and weekly opens are my favorite times to trade. That's why. So we had to go back into bar replay for this. But here we are. That's September's high. I think it's going to reverse. Okay, I'm taking a short. Where? At September's high. If it reverses. Boom, boom. Where is my take profit? Take profit? Midpoint. It's a monthly, so I'm not expecting a month open to be retested. I would say maybe a midpoint. So I want to go halfway to that candle. That's my target. Entry, simple. Target, simple. Go back to the daily. Now, I can go ahead and tell you that there's a really good chance this trade would not work. Not because I know it didn't, but because that's the monthly high. I don't think you're going to be able to get all the way back down there. But that would be the trade. That would be the trade. Regardless, whether it works or not. That's the trade. Boom. I'm stopped out. Okay. Moving on. That's it. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. We're being patient. We're allowing our levels to set up. When they set up, we attack. We identify where potential support resistance is. This way we can plan a trade, plan an attack. Is it going to work or not? Is never, ever even talked about or discussed, because that is the one thing we can't do. As traders, our job is to mitigate financial risks. That is what your job is. You are a money manager. You are in charge of managing your money. If you lose it all on stupid strategies that are proven to not work, it's nobody's, like, you can't be mad at anybody but yourself at that point. So UPS is not doing what I want it to do. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing. Or I'm going to send an order to close it. I don't want it to drop all the way back down here. My target was $95. So here to here, that was my target. 85 to 95. So I want to get out at 95. So I'm going to work this order until I can get out of this trade. Because I don't want to give all that money back. There we go. We're done. We're out of it. We made $270 on that trade. Good. That'll add money to the account. We can trade with that later on. But yeah, I was targeting on Farcoin. I'm not really targeting the weekly support. Hang on. Right? Because remember, on these larger time frame candles, basically, okay, so when I'm taking an intraday trade, right, I'm looking at where the weekly levels are, but I'm not taking a short today on Farcoin and targeting this weekly level, because I know it most likely will not get all the way to that weekly level in one day, right? So your time frame, the expectations have to be within the price ranges. The best tool for that is the average true range. That's the best tool. So we're taking a day trade on Fartcoin. Our target would be just above yesterday's low, not the weekly, right? Yesterday's low. We're going to short there, and we're not going to target yesterday's low because we know that it can turn around prior to hitting yesterday's low. Here's yesterday's low. Look what this bitch just did. It went almost to yesterday's low. So we take profits before the previous day's low. Then, which I didn't because I was too busy talking, but still I'm okay with it. I'm good. Trust me. I'm fine. But yeah. So if you're looking for day trades, you're not expecting more than what the day has already given you. All right. So this is today. Right here. All of this is today's candle. That's why I pull this indicator up, because I think people that aren't as good at identifying where the daily lows and all that stuff is, this indicator helps you because it shows you where the day high is, it shows you where the day low is, and it shows you where the day open is. So you know any price action in this on this side of this box is yesterday's range. You're looking at here only today's range. So in this scenario, I wouldn't be using yesterday's low as a take profit, right? Because today we already took out yesterday's low. Already took it out. So in this scenario, I would typically just be looking for about 2%. We know on average, Fartcoin trades on average about 5% per day. So we look to target half of that. So if our short entries here, we're looking to target about 2.5%. Right there would be a sufficient take profit on a day trade. If you're taking the trade at the weekly open in anticipation of it being a big week range, well, you may sit in that trade for 5 weeks before you ever get to your target. But that's okay. Your expectations are weeks, not days. If your expectations are days, you need to be operating well within the average of what this day can do. To simply find that, just go to the daily time frame, pull up the average true range. It's right there. I'm pretty sure I already have it, but I'll pull it up, a new one anyway. Come over here. Right there is where the ATR is on Bitcoin or on Fartcoin. This tracks the average of the last 14 days. Is 642. So if we start a new bar replay, just get rid of today, right? That's just yesterday's range. We can simply go, where is it? Nope. Right here. We can simply go from yesterday's close, because that's going to be today's open, up 642. Wait a minute. Okay. Right there. That's potential upside. It's not guaranteed. It's potential. And then this go down all the way, you know what I mean, to 642. That is potential downside. So this is your potential range for today before you ever even get the open. So if you're going to be taking shorts or longs at specific levels, you need to make sure your profit target fits inside the parameter of what it could potentially do. This is not what is going to happen. This is double what could happen. Hopefully I'm not confusing you with that. 642 is the maximum of what could happen inside of a day. So the better way to do that would be do this, maybe. Yesterday's low, yesterday's high is about 402. So tack on an extra 100 going up, tack on an extra 100 coming down. So now this is what is potential for the day. That is the potential for the day. And now it's going to be up to you to identify where you're going to take the trade and where you're going to take money. On a day trade. This is still way bigger than you can expect. That's why I say take half of what the daily average is and then use that as your take profit. So about 300 is what we would be targeting. If we go back to intraday, so we shorted here. Look for about 300. Oh, wow. No, I wouldn't even take half. There's 300. So that's half of what that average is on Fartcoin. In a normal circumstance, so you could target the daily low, but tomorrow is a news. Tomorrow is FOMC. It's the biggest news event. Like when you get FOMCs, I don't think they're NFPs, FOMCs, CPIs. Those are your three biggest news events. The day before those news events can be very tight and small ranges. These are just things you'll pick up as you go on, as time goes on. But yeah, we're just operating inside of the levels that the prices already gave us. Is your fart take profit at low day? It would be sometimes. Me myself, like you can adjust your take profit however you want. Me myself, I'm generally looking to make $300 on a trade. But I've already got that. I've been trading for so long. I already know the position size on all of these assets. If it's a new asset that I don't know, like I haven't ever traded it before, so I don't know how fast it moves or what, then I go in extra small. Like on this trade, I only traded this with $50, but 20x leverage. So my position size is 4,300 tokens on this. Seems super small, right? It is. It is super small, $56. That's my margined capital. But that's my trade size right there. That's what I've made. So my ROI looks insane. It is insane. It is insane because this asset has moved 36% in one day. Yeah, it's way above normal. Way above normal. So on assets like this, the strategy will change a little bit. But on Fartcoin, I'm looking to scalp a couple $100 per day. And I'm only going to lose 90 tops. So technically speaking, like here's what I have on Fartcoin right now. But I'm looking for about $300. And I know it's possible. But I also got in a little bit too small. I'm supposed to be in here with about $300. So that was a fat finger mistake on my part. I usually trade Fartcoin with about $300 of my capital. So if I was in this with $300, I would have hit $300. I would have hit $300 on these lows. I would have been able to take profit. Now, something else that you can look at that will help you. This is my entry. Simple dimple. It's the previous 4-hour swing high. So easy. Where should my profit target be? This candle's open. That should be your profit target. This is also why I don't look at anything lower than a 4-hour chart. I only look at 4-hour charts. When I'm live on YouTube, I'll look at 15-second charts. I don't care, because I know most people like looking at small time frame charts. But when I'm not live on YouTube, when I'm just trading by myself or at my desk or even in my living room, I have a laptop. So my office is a bedroom. I just turned it into an office, a multi-monitor workstation, and it's my office. I got printers, I got everything set up here. I turned it into an office. But when I leave my office, I go to my living room and I sit on my couch and I watch TV. I have a laptop sitting beside of me on the asset that I'm trading in. So if I have an open position or several open positions, I can use my mouse and check on the assets throughout the day, what they're doing. So I'm less active. I'm looking over at it every now and then. I'm not constantly staring at computer screens. I'm usually done in my office by 12 o'clock every day. Every day. But when I am not live, these are the charts I'm looking at. Because it is so simple, so easy for me to just look at this chart, and I know my entry's here. I know this is where I'm looking to get out. Then I'll take profits. I'll move my stop to break even. So that way, if it's a really good day, they're not always, right? But if it is, say this thing closes down in here. Well, then the next candle might open, might shoot up a wick, like up into here, and then might close down here. And then the next candle opens, does the same thing. Opens up, throws a wick up to here, and then closes down here. Well, hell, if my entry's there and I get this by the end of the day, then I made more money on the small position because I caught, 2 more 4-hour expansions than I did on the first entry. Then I just go ahead and close the whole trade. I'll make double the money. So I can potentially make $600 and be done. My goal is 3. If I make 6, it's better. That's all I'm doing. I get all the useless, non-working garbage out. You can also see that Farcoin's been trading in a multi-4-hour range, right? Multi-4-hour range here. Multi-candles. So many candles. You're basically trading in this range. So if you're breaking out up there or breaking down here, then holy shit, you're probably in a trending. You probably got into a trending trade, and in that scenario, you keep that open, at least a small piece. But you always take profits on the big position, the entry position size. You close that down by at least 2/3. If I get in with 10,000 fart coins, like I'm short 10,000 tokens, when it gets to here, I'm literally closing 7,000 tokens down. I'm taking that money and I'm depositing that into my checking account. That's my money. The market will never get that back. Ever. This is how I'm able to make consistent withdrawals weekly. Boom, 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 boom. Every week, make withdrawals. And I want you guys to get there because it's a good place to be when you're making consistent withdrawals. You're no longer buying crypto. No one should be buying crypto. You should not be buying crypto. You should be accumulating it by trading it. I don't buy Bitcoin. I never buy Bitcoin. I used to trade the inverse swap, so I was paid in Bitcoin. It's just a fantastic place to be, and it's very easy to learn. And that's literally all you need. You can use other moving averages and stuff like that of the sort to help you gauge trend and direction, but learning all of these little minutia points, that's going to take time. Like you're going to take a little bit to get to where I'm at, right? But it's you're managing your money. That's what you really need to focus on. Stop trying to get rich overnight. Like, look at it as a long-term process. I live very, very, like, easy, right? Everything's good, so I don't need thousands of dollars every single week coming in and going out, right? Because I'm not spending thousands of dollars every single week. I live on a very small income. We eat out whenever we want. So sometimes we cook, sometimes we eat out. We pay all of our bills. Everything we own is ours. Like, we own it. We don't have any debt. You know what I mean? Like, if we want it, we go buy it. We pay cash for it. If you live that lifestyle, you can work for yourself. If you're buying Lambos and jet skis and stuff like that, you're probably it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for you, but it's still completely possible. But most even full-time jobs in America, they pay sub $20 an hour. $20 an hour times 40 hours a week. You can do the math. It's not very much money. And there's a lot of jobs that don't pay $20 an hour. It's $800 a week. I can do that a day. Every day. Yeah. And I never ever have more than just a couple $100 at risk. It's a great place to be. So yeah, off the rant, VIX not taking out the gap yet. Still got this lower gap to fill here on the VIX. It's working on it. I do believe this gap will be filled because I believe the VIX will make a fresh yearly low this year. When it does, I'll probably buy some puts. But yeah, I think your volatility's pretty much toast for the rest of the year. I mean, you've had 2 bouts of expansion on volatility twice this year. You got all the way up to 60 once. Then you got all the way up to 30 just the other day. So this is all probably done for the year. And if that's the case, then these things, these two right here, S&P, Bitcoin, probably going to slowly trend back to the upside. Same with Ethereum. I don't see why it would just be Bitcoin and not Ethereum. And let's look at this. Finally, we haven't looked at anything like this stuff over here. Bitcoin ETF flows. Let's take a gander at the ETF flows. See what we've been doing. These people they just will not stop trying to get me to buy one of their wallets. All right. Today's the 28th. So, all week we've seen very, very, very minimum of buying going on. Yesterday, a little bit more, right? Wait, what am I looking at? That's last week. Yesterday. Oh, today's Tuesday. What am I doing? Yesterday. Last week was very small. Yesterday was better. Over 100. I look at this indicator as like a delta. Like there was a a little bit slight more bullish delta yesterday going into ETF flows than bearish deltas. So this is what we want to see for continuation up. When you start seeing crazy numbers like above 400, that's super bullish. Like real bullish. That's why when we seen at one point we had an inflow of over 1,000. That also was the high. That also ended up being Bitcoin's high. Like up here. It wasn't long after that, this thing topped out. Boom. So we like to see small bullish deltas daily. If we're seeing small bullish deltas on the ETF flows or positive numbers, that's consistent with, small bullish continuation. You can still get bearish days. Yesterday was a bullish delta, 149. It was still a down day. Right? But Bitcoin looks poised to go much further. And it would only need, if you look at where it is now in comparison to where it was back here when it made fresh all-time highs, that's your all-time high. It took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So we are literally just 5 good days of being right back up at all-time highs again. 5 good days. I would go up and say 2 or 3 good days. Tomorrow we got FOMC. We're going to have a double non-farm payroll next week. Next Friday, not this Friday coming, not this day right here, but the next Friday, this day, you're going to get 2 non-farm payroll prints. 2 of them. So tomorrow we're going to get FOMC, most likely a rate cut by 25 basis points. We can go check to make sure, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're at 400. They're expecting 375 to 400 tomorrow. We're at 400, 425. That's a 25 basis point rate cut. That is being 96.7% expectations. So most likely, we're going to get a rate cut tomorrow. So in theory, this thing could be back up at positive 120 by tomorrow. Tomorrow by the close. What's up, Fabian? What's happening, my friend? All right, good stuff. So yeah, does anybody else got any other questions? I'm still going to have this on watch for later. I don't like that it's been trading sideways still for so long. Like it's pretty much lost all of its bullish momentum that it did have earlier in the session. So I'm not loving it. Buy down here. I was loving a buy down here if we got the open and then it came down here and failed to go lower. Now that would be well under the 200 on the 5 minutes. So basically all of your bullish momentum is gone. So depending on what it does down here will basically determine if I buy it or not. If it breaks down with a big gigantic candle, then the answer is not just no, but hell no, I'm not buying it. Or if you get one of these, no, I'm not buying that. If it slowly gets down here and then throws in a wick, and then does something like that, then I can buy it, right? Ooh, what happened? Then I can be a buyer. Slow. I don't want to see a lot of volatility around this level. If we get a lot of volatility around this level, then I'll leave it alone. Because I've pretty much done what I'm going to do today. My goal is about $300 a day. I mean, I've made that. Not on Fartcoin yet, but I've made that here. Like, this one's pretty much done. It's pretty much toast. The only reason I haven't gotten out of it completely yet is because it still looks like this. It looks like it's trying to break down still. So I'm not going to close it, but I'm definitely not going to sit in any big bullish spikes. My stop loss is setting right here. If it throws a wick up into that, I'm getting out. I'm done. I'm done with it. But if it dumps, then obviously I want to stay in it. I don't need the alert there anymore because I have moved my stop loss. But yeah, if it continues to dump, then I'm going to stay in it. Because it could give back all of this. It's went down almost 40%, but it could still go down another 40. Yeah, probably around 10 cents I would just bail. That would be 60% I would get out of it. I don't know that this is going to be a pump and dump. That's the thing. It could find support. I don't want to be short if it is. So that's maybe a UPS we're out of. We got our money there. And then Fartcoin, it's finding support. It might just be wiggling a little bit, but I don't like this look. You've only got 46 minutes left on this close. A good close would be down here, under this candle's close. That would be good for us. Something like that. That would look good. I would like that. I'd like that very much. But if it closes up here, these guys are still in the game. Because they literally just bought it there. Like, you got to there. And it's struggling to go lower. Not only is it struggling to go lower, it's literally just going up. So hopefully that it finds resistance here and then rolls over and gives us that continuation move. But with the news coming tomorrow, I'm not expecting that. I should have got out on that wick. That was more than enough. More than enough. We got the move we were looking for. We can't expect more than that. What's up, Oxum? It's Oxum here. For some reason, YouTube changed my name to the username. Oxum Trading. YouTube did that? That's weird. Huh. I can't answer that. I don't know what YouTube be doing. I'm not a YouTuber. That is weird. YouTube has like the absolute worst customer service too on the planet. So good luck finding out why. Oh, the above is okay. Got you. Oh, I see what you're saying. It didn't change your name to Oxum Trading. It changed it to Fabian. Got you. Yeah. I have no idea. That's weird. But either way, they still have terrible customer service. So good luck. Good luck finding out why. We thank you for your email. One of our team members will get back to you in at least 6 to 9 months. Yeah. Bitcoin to me looks okay. It looks really good here. I like it. We're already on the daily. The daily looks good. As long as you're closing dailies above the 21, I like it. The fact that we're in a 6 month or 4 month range is the reason why the moving averages are very unhelpful here. When price goes in the range bound, boom, here we go. Damn, that was loud in my ears. Yeah, we might be getting a move here. I would much rather prefer buying down here, but it doesn't mean we'll get there, because the last 4 hour session's low could be all that they're looking for. We'll give it a second here, but this might be getting ready to move. If it dumps, we don't care. We're done with it. These low cap cryptos usually are pump and dumps. We have to be very careful buying these things. Excuse me. I would rather see a liquidation down here and then continuation build. That just simply means it comes down here, liquidates, and then starts to build a base, and then starts to drift away from that base. That would be like good. That would be constructive. It's not great, but constructive. Be better than just flying right through there, right? Flies right through there, then it's no trade. We're also seeing a little bit of dumpage here on this one, which is good since we are short. Love it. Mwah. Good, good, good. Give it to me. I'll take it all. Take it all. Is there anything else like flying right now? Nope. OL is still the big mover on the day. Puffer, though, has moved up into 51%. What is Puffer? Wow, Puffer's moving. Or it was. It isn't. I mean, it is, but Puffer. No, Puffer. You know, like Fluffer, only Puffer. Not the premium index. We want the perps, dude. Yeah, it's got a big daily candle here. Been on the move for a couple hours. Boom, boom, boom. What do we got on the RISI? The RISI. We're nowhere near Dunzo yet. What is this? That is volume. I bet right here is my... There it is. So we can delete this one. Wait a minute. Oh, this is a correlation coefficient. We don't need this. I don't need this all the time. I don't need this either. These are the good ones. All right. Advanced ATR and then volume deltas. Here we go. If this thing gets up into the 90s, like 95, then maybe. I got a question for anybody that didn't hear me yesterday. If you know how to make this highlight the number over here, please tell me. The RSI. I want the RSI to be highlighted over here like Weeks does. Look at Weeks. Look at Weeks be pimping. They give you that highlight. That is pimp. I like that. I like that a lot. I want TradingView to do that. But I don't know how to make TradingView do that. It would be nice. But Puffer's moving. And then this one was moving, but it has gone into consolidation. Well, the next monthly level to liquidate's this month's level. I don't like that. Oh, sweet. We got some weekly levels. We got potential liquidation levels to target. if it does in fact find support, which it does look like it's doing, hence the reason I could be a buyer. But I won't love it if the 200 starts trending above price. I will not love it any longer. So this isn't what I wanted to see. I wanted to see it give us at least 2 more continuation candles and get down into this stuff, please. OL and Puffer are the 2 big movers, and they both have millions of coins traded in volume, which makes them tradable. Can't trade anything that's got less than millions. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. These are the only 2 things that I'll be watching for the rest of the day. And of course, Fartcoin. If Fartcoin it does end up breaking down and making, gets into this area, I will be closing it, or at least taking money off the table. Tomorrow, I'm not expecting that today, though, because of tomorrow. So today could end up just being a very slow, sideways, choppy day for the rest of the day on everything, because tomorrow. And we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you guys trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.